All right, we're now live. I'm sorry to those if they've been waiting around on YouTube because it does say there's a few there waiting. But I wanted to make sure that we had our mic and the camera and everything was all good. So today on today's podcast, we've got SatoshiSiren, which I've actually been friends with for probably, I don't know, via Twitter, I think, well, X now. I think it's been over 12 months easily.
Yeah, easily,
So,
for sure.
yeah. So, like, I try to keep in contact with, like, the people that, give me little micro updates on what's going on in the community, and you've been one of those people. And just previously, as we were talking on, like, before the podcast started, you were saying about music. So you're actually one of the people that I look at to see what's going on.
Cool, thank you. Well, I'm really flattered to hear that. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's all good. So, like, I just want to get straight into it in relation to Gala, just to give a bit of a background on yourself. So you roughly entered the community in 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2020, 2021, summer-ish. That's when I entered. I first got in with the token, and then sort of slowly got into the Discord and learned more about the games. And then once I got into the games, like, I was basically lost in just, big Gala degen.
Yeah. So what originally like got you into the idea of like, oh, like for me, I'll say it just seemed like a given, like you've got these NFTs and they have utility in game. And then it started making me think, like if you play like a traditional game and say you buy heaps of skins on Fortnite and something was to happen to you and you passed away, like if someone else started using those, like not NFTs, those in-game assets that aren't NFTs, like, and with a new IP address, they could be flagged and then lose all the content that you've purchased. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, it just seemed like, oh yeah, like that makes sense. Like this is where it's going to head. So was that
Yeah.
the same for yourself?
For sure, for sure. The whole ownership part is something that's really big. I believe in it. And with everything that people are spending in games, it makes sense, right? And then also, like, the whole idealistic part of it where, cutting out the middleman and making it more fair for, like, the developers and the players, or, like, on the music side, the musicians, connecting them to the fans and that kind of thing. That really speaks to me as well, sort of cutting out the middleman and making, like, democratizing it, making more fair for everyone to be able to do what they want to do, not have game developers or musicians sort of handcuffed and like in a straitjacket, like, no, you can only do this and we only want to hear that, and that kind of thing. So that's kind of what makes me excited about, like, the Web3 space in general and, like, Web3 entertainment especially.
Yeah. And you've also been to the I can't remember what they're called because they changed the name so many times, so like it's hard to remember which one they actually stayed with, but the Gala has events. What did they
Right,
end
and
up?
they've had a bunch of events. Like, the first two that I went to was like Galaverse 1 and Galaverse 2. I think they had a couple of events in between, but then after those, they also started doing like little pop-up events. They had open mic nights, which I missed, sadly. I wasn't able to go to, but then they had other nights like LA Music Live. I went to that one. I was lucky enough to go to that one, and that one was really cool, where they had like emerging artists. Some of them were not signed with Gala yet, but they were in the pipeline, obviously, and they're now signed with Gala. We were able to hear them perform and get to know them, and just go to different events. And that's one of the things that I really love about Gala, is like all the events that they do, all the ways that they make it easy for the community to sort of get together and have a good time and just enjoy the different things, whether it's games at the Galaverse events or music at the other, like, Gala music events.
So with the Galaverse, did you go to the original first one that they come out with?
Yeah.
So
That's
going into that, like how much was your mind blown? Like no expectation really, walking in there and seeing what it was like.
No, it was amazing. It was really amazing. And like, that was at the time where I was still getting teased about, like, my magical internet money and, like, my pretend internet friends and all that kind of thing. So I was lucky enough to be able to go to Galaverse, and I got a companion ticket for my husband, and that's where it really changed for me, because he was able to see, like, oh no, wow, this isn't just any old thing, this is like a real thing. And I was able to, like, pull him into the crypto rabbit hole where he now, like, firmly lives.
Well, that's really cool. Like, can we mention who he is on, like, Discord
Sure,
and stuff?
yeah, I don't think he'd mind at all. Crypto compliant.
Yeah. So that's really funny because he's like one of the, the more active members and has a lot of information. And the fact that you brought him into it, and then he's like, oh wow, like this is legitimate. You know what I mean? Like I want to get like more deeper into this. I reckon that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a good experience for the family, and for us, and just it's been a wild ride for sure. And
Yeah,
then he came with me. We went together, like now not as a companion, but with a full ticket to the Malta thing. We went together. Oh yeah, and the Snoop thing as well. We were able to do the Snoop thing together. That was really cool. The Snoop barbecue.
yeah. I was
I
gonna
forgot.
say was
There's been
that
a
this.
lot of events. Scala have done a lot of events. They have.
Yeah. Well, they seem to be like next level with their events. Like, I don't know if it's because I live out nowhere, like in Australia, but like when I was watching it and stuff like that online, because I had I think at the time it was like pretty heavy lockdowns, all that sort of stuff, and like I could only watch it online, so I had one of the online tickets, and like the booths and everything they had, well, not booths but stages, were very impressive. You know,
Yeah.
like I would have liked to have gone into they had the Miranda Spa, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had the Miranda's bar. That was really cool. That was really, really cool, where you could play like Dungeons and Dragons and different things. And they also had the Town Star bar, which was really, really cool. And all the little Town Star beers had little Town Star labels on them. It was really, really cute. They like down to the last detail planned it and organized it. It was amazing for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I spoke to Euclid and Oaks about it, and they were like I think it was the Town Star section actually smelt like a farm. They're like they didn't know how they'd done it, but it was like they were bringing smells in or something. But
Yeah,
I don't,
I don't know.
I,
Maybe because they had hay on the floor as well. I remember they had like a lot of hay, so I don't know if that contributed to the smell. But no, it was very like realistic, very lifelike. They had like different musicians and things like coming in and out of the bar like during the day, because you had like a circle with like all the games kind of thing, where you could like different booths and things that you could do, and then like in the middle you had the Town Star bar, and then also the hub where there was like the stage and all that other stuff. But then if you were sort of bored with the games or just wanting to take a break, you could go into the Town Star bar, and they had the stage with the music, they had food, different things. So it was really nice. And for one of the performances, they had this lady. I think she must be well known. I don't know her, but she was singing country music and like yodeling and doing all this cool stuff. So it was they really like got you into like it was like an immersive experience, you know what I mean? And they really wanted that for the people, and that's what I feel like everybody that you talked to that went there, they really got that immersive feeling from it.
yep, cool. Well, we've got the Zara Gallo, which is in now. He just said hello. How you going, Zara? And my wife, Mrs. GTG, she said hello, Siren. Um, so, so who did you actually get to meet? Like, did you get to meet Bitbender, McCarthy, any of those?
Yeah, and I got to meet Bucks briefly and different people, and I've like at the different events I've met different people. So it wasn't at the Galaverse, but at one of the events I got to meet Irrelevant as well, and like just all the different people from Gala, and everyone down to the last person has just been incredibly like friendly and outgoing, responsive and inclusive. So it's been they really do make those events like special experiences, which is probably why I tried to go to so many of them as well. And it's really exciting now as well, because Lava Entertainment, they're getting into doing more events as well, and with the music side. So I know we were talking earlier about how I just recently got back from Puerto Rico, and that was a Lava Entertainment event writing camp with also Gala Music. So Lava Entertainment is doing a lot to bring fan experiences and like cool events too. So I'm all for more of that.
So, so we'll get into the music end because that's interesting. I was watching a video on yours with the Lava Entertainment, and I was like, "Oh, has this got to do with crypto Lava?" How's it
Yeah,
going?
Lava Crypto, exactly.
Yeah,
It's his whole project. He's brought a few of us in that are working with him, and that particular project that he's working on is called Lava Entertainment. And so actually, if you look at the Gala Music musicians, like all the artists that are there, they I think it's something like 10%. I can't remember the exact, and it's probably been changing, right? With more musicians being added, but something like 10% of them are from Lava Entertainment, which is, pretty big.
yeah, that's really cool. So Lava Entertainment's like a publisher, are they? Like, and then they have um, like singers and artists underneath the publisher. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Lava Entertainment do the digital distribution, and they also do publishing administration, and so they're always expanding, right? They started off a little bit smaller; they weren't doing all the things. Now they're doing more things. But another one of the things that they also do is the Web3 artist management, digital management for them. So helping them with all the things pertaining to Web3, basically.
Yep. And are they like genre like specific, or are they like any sort of like music?
No, any sort of music. They're just open to, it just kind of all happens through word of mouth and stuff like that. So just different artists get signed on. But Lava's always open to work with anyone, everyone, just wherever the opportunity arises where, he can make something work for somebody or whatever, then, he's happy to do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So
So I
they've
want to
also,
talk.
sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
sorry, we got that delay, so sorry about that. But so I want to stick with the music side for a bit anyway, because like I'll just say as like an early community member, like there was no gala music, there was no gala movies, and I remember when they were coming out, and I'm like, oh, I hope they're not, biting off more than they can chew, because I want all the capital to go into games, because that's the part that I'm interested in. I do like
Right.
music as well, but it's just, like how do you compete with Apple Music and Spotify? So that's the way I looked at it. And then it's like they've gone in a different way where they're not actually trying to compete. They're trying to be like their own hub and bring all these different experiences that Spotify and Apple Music don't bring. And then I
Right.
was like, okay, I can sort of wrap my head around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
I totally get where you're coming from, because like a lot of us that were there at the beginning before Gala Music or Gala Film even existed, we were there for the games. So I think a lot of us had the same sort of, oh, don't take too much energy away from the games because that's why we're here, right? But I think that the way that they separated it, and Gala Games is its own thing, and then on the Gala Entertainment side they have music and film, and the Vox as well. I think that has made it good. So they're all like running on their own engines, doing their own thing, and just building and collaborating and expanding, which is what we want to see.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So like being that you come from the gaming side, when the music started, like essentially being announced and all the rest of it, like what, so your thoughts were similar to everyone else? You're like, oh, like what's actually going to happen here? And like what got you more excited about the music side than the gaming side?
Well, I mean, in the first Galaverse, that's where we first got like the inkling that music was going to be a big thing, right? With all the shows, all the events with the different artists and musicians, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then also they had the announcement for the BT project, I remember. So we heard about that at Galaverse, the BT Orbs, which was like, an incredible project. That's what I think anyway. However it was handled, whatever happened, like the project itself is just like an incredible project, unlike anything that's out there, even still now. So all of that stuff kind of made me realize, like, oh, look, there's more to it here. And they were always saying in the Discord, like, you got to think bigger, right? And so that's when I started to see, like, oh, well, maybe. And when they started to talk about how, like, no, you don't need to worry, like, this is gonna be working like that, and it's all separate, and we still have people, we're just expanding the teams, like all that kind of stuff. But really seeing the experiences, the artist experiences, like everything that they're trying to bring, like you said, like it's not necessarily trying to compete with Spotify, all the other ones, but they're
Mhm.
bringing this new and completely unique thing. It's just really valuable, you know what I mean? And like people are going to really resonate with that, like especially when it's like the music that they're really into, that they've loved their whole lives, or the artists that they just really just love so much, and all that kind of stuff. So just having these experiences, like just recently being able to be in Puerto Rico with Lava Entertainment, and seeing, meeting Yo Poppy, who like he's already dropped some music on Lava, worked with various artists, like he's a big name already as a producer and doing what he's doing, JG as well, meeting Brai, like seeing how the music was created, all those different things. It was just mind blowing for someone like me. It was just like just incredible. Just like there's just like no experience like it. Like when you were a kid, like I would never dream of being like a fly on the wall with like my favorite artist while they're like making their new album or their new track or whatever it was, and like hanging out during like the smoke breaks or like the little breaks or whatever for just to like reset and get those creative juices flowing again. So hearing all the stories, all the like funny things that happen in the studio, the crazy stories about this night, about that person, this thing that happened, like it was really fun. It was really fun. And it was like an experience like no other. So it's really like not an exaggeration to say that these are really like special experiences. And if that's what Gala music is bringing, that's what Lava Entertainment is bringing, like I'm all down for that. I'm backing those 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. So like I'd say from a user perspective, and I don't really understand like what hertz you got to have and all the rest of the stuff to have like the really good like sound quality. But what I noticed with like Gala music as a listener was that the quality just seemed so much better than what I was getting from like Apple Music and Spotify. Like everything just sounds better through that system. So I don't know if they've like had an engineer that's just nailed it, but like that's the difference that I see with it. I don't really. So let's get into like I know that you're like myself and you're not super technical of all this stuff, but like with the beams and all the rest of the stuff, like the beams you're pretty much staking it against an artist. Is that how you see it as well?
I think it's not supposed to be staking. You're just like putting, I forget what like the terminology is, but you're sort of putting them towards that artist, and that helps. That gives you rewards and different things like discounts on their next drop and stuff like that. So yeah, I think so.
So with the token itself, do you know when that's actually going to be released on exchange or anything like that?
I don't. I do. I have heard that it's going to be, well, for sure this year. I've heard even that it's going to be for sure before Christmas time. But I don't know like the exact date. And I think that even the people that do know the exact date, I think they know that that exact date is potentially could be in flux by a day or two. I mean, I don't really know anything, but I think that it's something that's coming soon.
Yeah, well, hopefully, because it's been a while, but it's one of those things as well. Like as community members, we don't really know everything that's involved with the back end and like, and when's the perfect time as well. It's like if we go into a bull market, that's going to be the peak time that you
And
want to
there's
be
like
able to.
so many, yeah, exactly. And then like there's so many other moving pieces to do with like the partners and exchanges and different things that like we don't have no idea about. So I can only imagine on the Gala side, there's like all kinds of like headaches and like panic for just to get, well, maybe not panic, but just to get everything right. But I'm sure like always, they'll pull it off. It'll be fine. I'm not super concerned about that. I know the community has been very worried about that, but like this is the Wild West, as Bankless like to say. I listen to Bankless podcast sometimes as well, and I just like that saying that we're heading into the Wild West, right? We don't know exactly how it's going to be, but we're building it together, so it's important to be here, right? And so I think that it's normal that there's always going to be like unexpected delays and things that happen, but at the end of the day, like we're all working towards the same thing, we're all waiting for the same thing, and when it finally comes, I think that everyone is going to be happy, and I think it's going to come like when it's supposed to, like when they said so, at some point before the end of the year, before the end of Christmas. I don't know anything about dates though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like look at what happened with like FTX and all the rest of it, and then you've got CZ. He just like stood down from Binance. Like I won't get into anything more technical than that, but that's not a good sign for like the biggest exchanges. You know what I mean? This is over the last 12 months. So if I was running a project, something to the size of Gala, like I'd be really nervous right now of like what is the exact move that we should be making.
Yeah, no, 100%. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. It's crazy. Like, and it's really difficult to like try to remain professional when you have like all this like nonsense that's going on around you, right? But yeah, I think this is it's just the law of the land. That's how crypto is. That's how it's been. I think that's how it's going to continue to be for a little bit. Hopefully each time a little bit less, until, it gets more rational and professional and normal without all these crazy things happening. But it'll take time to get there, just because of how crypto is.
So what are you most excited about, like with the music, the movies, the games? Like if you look at, this is one of the reasons that I chose gaming myself, is that as far as industries are concerned, like gaming is huge compared to movies and all the rest of it. Like
Yeah.
like it's a massive industry.
Yeah.
And you know,
And,
there's
and it
some.
takes from both other sides, right? Because a lot of movies get made into games, games can get made into movies, and then music is like the link that runs through all the games, right? You can't have a game without music.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, that's the thing that I was excited about because, like, if you played like Spider Tanks when they had the Snoop Dogg, like I don't know what you call it, like the Dogg prop or
Blaster.
the spider tank that you could use, like
Right.
playing the music at the end when you won a game and all the rest of the stuff. Like, I thought it would be really cool to have like the the hits of Gala music being played in the game while you're cruising around and doing stuff, like, and could just toggle it on and off based on if you're in a team and not using mics and whatnot. But
Yeah.
and it's the same with the movies. Like a movie needs good music.
Yeah,
So
for sure, for sure. And for me, like I'm ever the optimist for all those things with like the utility for like the music inside the games and all that kind of stuff. Like we haven't really seen it materialize the way that we thought, but I'm thinking like for me, I'm ever the optimist. I don't think that it's like not going to happen. I think that it's just like they're dealing with so many other things. They're just trying to do too much at the same time. So maybe from my perspective, right? So maybe that's why certain things are being delayed and stuff like that. But I'm still hoping that these things will be coming like down in the pipeline, when they're able to get to them.
So you're a friend of Lava. So how did he like? Do you know much of his background at all? Like, has he always been into music or?
I think he started at games as well, but he got into music as well. I met him actually at Malta. That's where I actually met him, and we made friends. We hung out. It was super fun, and yeah. So
Oh,
he's,
that's
I
cool.
mean, because his brother, I don't know if you know his brother JG. He's also a Lava entertainment artist, and he's also a Gala music artist. He was actually the first Lava entertainment artist to come onto Gala music. So that's that's how well why Lava started to build this whole Lava entertainment thing. It all like was born from that.
Yeah, because I've watched I can't remember if it's called the Patio Show, which
Yeah,
has the Zara Gala. It's got Crypto Lava and then also Crypto View.
that's
I'm pretty
right.
sure I've got all the names right. But I've never seen him actually talk about anything that he does. They sort of just like stay on topic of what's going on. And like he seems like a really nice guy, Crypto Lava. And I've spoken
Yeah,
to
Lava
Zorro
crypto.
and so he's actually on my list of people to talk to.
Oh,
So
awesome. Yeah, I think that'll be one. I won't miss that one because that'll be a really interesting one to watch for sure. Yeah, no, Lava Crypto is amazing. And he's also like so knowledgeable about like all the stuff. He's always thinking about every angle about all these different things. Like, he'll be asking me something like, "What do you think about this?" And I'll be like, "Oh, well, I don't know that." And then he'll like say something else. And I'm like, "Oh, wow, I didn't really think of it that way." And just like very interesting perspective and stuff like that. So that'll be a good conversation for sure.
yeah. Well, Crypto View is fairly knowledgeable as well, but it's mostly useless information because it's XRP, and that's just a joke. But I'm just stirring him up. Every time I do like a podcast or anything at all, he'd be like XRP to the moon. So he likes to stir me up. So, like, what else does Gala have on the horizons now? Do you know if there's going to be another Galaverse coming up soon, or is there any
I know
dates at
that
all?
it was planned and it was supposed to happen, I think, and I understand why they would want to like wait for more like favorable conditions. I think that there will be one. I just think that it's a question of like when, not if, but when.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading the chat to see if anyone had any questions for you, but they're just talking amongst themselves. But Lazaro Gala said Satoshi is an amazing person.
Oh, that's so
Well,
sweet. No, El Zorro's amazing. I love hanging with him. It's always a good time with those guys. They're super cool and like just warm and welcoming and just like really, really cool. So yeah, this is a thing. Like that's what we were talking about before. The Gala community is everything, and no matter what happens with Gala or whatever, it's just like the Gala community is like so special. So that's like a big pull there as well.
yeah. So we were talking before the podcast, and I asked you about your thoughts on the Gala Collective. So I want to ask you a bit more about that again. I'm guessing you're probably similar to myself and don't know, you know, like a great deal of information because I'm not sure that there's like really that much out there at the moment to the public anyway, other than the fact that they want to buy, NFTs in Gala ecosystem.
Yeah, and then I feel like it's also like a community of like builders. They all have like their own like gala project that they're building, but I haven't been super active because I'm not actually building anything. I'm just sort of along for the ride kind of thing. So that's so I do know about it a little bit, and I do follow it a little bit, but I'm not super involved or active because as far as I understand it, it is for people that are building like little satellite projects to gala.
Yeah. So as far as I can tell, like they're going to have a token and all the rest of it, and it's going to be launched off Seed Starter by, which was created by Jesse Hines, which used to be the, what was he? He was the lawyer for Gala.
Yeah.
So being someone that's in the community, like, do we have a new Gala lawyer, or you're not too sure?
Do they have a new lawyer?
Yeah, a new Gala lawyer, like a public figure like Jesse was in the Discord.
I mean, I think for Jesse, it was a little bit different because he was like a Gala community member at first. He was like deep in the community. Everybody knew him. And then, like many people that are currently Reds in Gala, are now actually working for Gala, and then he finished his time at Gala and left. But I think that was kind of what contributed to him having like this massive social profile because he was already embedded there, like as part of the community. I don't know anything about Gala hiring or inner workings or any of that stuff. Sadly, because I love to know about everything. I'm always like interested in everything. But yeah, no, I wish I could answer that for you, but I don't. I haven't really heard anything about the lawyers. I haven't like known about any new people like in the community, but also I haven't been like as active as I would like because we've had some kind of like a busy time recently as well, just like personally as a family. We moved from Utah out to California. So that was like a big move with like getting all the stuff ready and then unpacking and getting the kids settled and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't been as active as I would like recently, but I haven't heard about anything for that.
So I was just reading the thing again as well. The Zara Gala said Satoshi only leaks from Puerto Rico, and then he's got a laugh face.
All I know is that Lava has got it going on. He's got all kinds of things planned. I heard that he said that he wants to make the Puerto Rico a yearly thing, so now I have to figure out how I can go yearly. Just kidding. But he's got like a bunch of things planned in the pipeline, and I'm really excited for what's coming. Like for sure, like Lava Entertainment is amazing, and I'm just excited to see the next phase.
So Mrs. JTG said, I hear there's a down low up and coming project called the Creepy Collections.
There is actually, funny you should mention that. Thank you for bringing that up. That's amazing. Yeah, no, actually my daughter is she's on Twitter too. She's her Twitter name is Una Anu, with 3 A's in the middle, OONAAA, and the rest of it like that. And so she does the Creepy Collective. She's an artist. She's amazing. I've loved her art for a long time. So we're just like trying to encourage her. And she actually made if you see my profile picture, I think I haven't changed it on Twitch, but I'm not super active on Twitch. But I think I have changed it on Instagram, Discord, and Twitter. So if you see my dark siren, that was her that did it. And I need to have some kind of like mermaid for my PFP. So she made that happen for me.
Oh,
I'm still waiting on the Vox Mermaid. Just kidding.
So does she have it listed on OpenSea or is it on a different platform?
Not yet. No, we're working on that. She's like she wants to do it her own way. So she's like, no, mom, I'm going to put it up on social media first, and then I'll put it up on OpenSea or whatever. So we're sort of figuring things out. But she's just like drawing them, putting them out there, and I don't think she's even going to call it the Creepy Collective because that was just a random name that I gave it. And of course, she's going to think of something way cooler. So she's going to have her own name for it because I'm just like the cringe mom. So, I can't, you can't have me naming her stuff.
No, I get how that is. I got an 8-year-old myself, and like I get called lame probably 2 or 3 times a day. So
it hurts, but we're building thicker skin, right? We're getting used to it slowly.
So in relation to children and stuff like that, like, and being that you and your husband are a part of the the crypto community as a whole, like, what do they think about Gala Games or other projects in the community?
Yeah. I recently did a Twitter post about my 8-year-old daughter. I have an 8-year-old too, who's like asking me because I'm really into like the Jarritos project. Jarritos is like a soft drink from Mexico that I used to drink when I was little, and they came out with their own NFT project, which was like Bones by Jarritos, and I love skeletons. Like it's a very Mexican thing as well. So I was like instantly in love with that project. I got into it, and so then they also sell the sodas, right? And we recently were able to find the Fiesta pack for the Jarritos sodas, and they're like limited edition versions that have their little Bones NFTs pictured on the soda. So it's cute and fun. So I got those, and my daughter was like, "So what's your Jarritos, mom?" And I was like, "Oh well, I have a couple, but mine has a fur coat." And I was like describing my NFT, and my daughter's like rolling her eyes, and she's like, "No, mom, she means the flavor." Of like my drink that I was drinking at the time. So yeah, they're not always that interested. My older kids, because I have four, like the 3-year-old, no idea. 8-year-old is like aware, but not really that interested. And then my 13 and 16-year-olds, they're sort of like vaguely interested. Sometimes it's just cringe and this dumb thing that we're doing. And then sometimes it's like a little bit cool and interesting. And because they hear about it in some kind of way in like popular culture. So then they're like more interested in, because their little radars go up. But yeah, it's kind of this like weird thing that mom and dad are doing.
Well, I've explained it to my kid, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." But he's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that though because I like cash." So
Yeah. You can't argue with the simplicity of cash. It's true.
So, like going back a while in Australia, like a while ago in Australia, like I mean, only maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had like an Optus dropout, and I'm not even sure if Optus is like a thing over in the States. It might even be an American company, I don't know, but they're like a telecommunications company. And pretty much what it done was like all the FPOS machines and all the rest of it wouldn't allow you to actually use your card at all. So like everyone's like, oh shit, like we can't even go to the ATM or anything. Like we've got to go into the bank. So like they're talking like digital dollars and all the rest of it. Like they want a central bank digital currency. So essentially everyone to be on a government owned cryptocurrency sort of deal. Like what do you think about that in comparison to like having the availability of cash?
I'm not really a big fan of like central bank digital currencies, just because of like the surveillance and different things that could potentially come along with it. I think that like cash is good, and I think that it's good like as crypto gets more developed and stuff like that, hopefully we'll be able to use it more frequently, and things like that. But I just don't agree with like the government control thing, because like if you want anything to be messed up, get the government in there and they'll do a good job.
Well, that's the thing. Like back when I first got into crypto, I think Bitcoin. I heard about it in 2015 by memory, and like it was all about freedom. It was more like a f you to government, f you to central bank. Like we're gonna own our own like currency. We're gonna like do what we want to do with it, and
And
yeah. Sorry,
no,
I'll finish what I was gonna like this thought with the digital currency that Bitcoin's like one of the best things that you could possibly have as far as like having your own sovereignty over your money. But then if you flip it and people know your wallet address, it's literally the worst thing that you could have as far as being tracked. So like it looks like they've taken the worst that you could get from like this technology, and they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to go with the worst part of it. you know don't worry too much about your dogs, Ava. They're not going to bother me.
okay, thank you. Yeah, no, and I agree with what you're saying, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying about like on the entertainment side, why I'm so excited about like the crypto, because it takes the middlemen out, like game developers and players or musicians and fans, and it's the same thing with the financial system. Because I got into crypto first, like you, fairly early on, but I'm also very distractible and easily forgetful. So I did it to do like a transaction, whatever, and then I forgot about it until later. But then I started to get into it, and then more into the game side of it. But that was like the whole thing, is that like that idealistic side of it was like what drew me in, and what I think is so valuable about it, especially if they're able to deliver on those ideals.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can. It's just one of those things. So, like what I've seen is like the exchanges when they first come out, they're like, oh, we're not a bank and this is how we do things and all the rest of it. And then over time wanted to turn into a bank just for cryptocurrency. And it's like, oh, well, it's sort of like the same thing now. And that's what always surprised me with like FTX or even Binance is like these places get hacked and then they lose all their money and complain. And it's like it's always been have your own keys, have your own crypto. You know what I mean? So like it's just I don't know if the communities like as new people come in and as they've made those adoptions going more towards like generalized banking, that people don't know that there was this other way of actually just holding your own currency and actually being a responsible adult. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, exactly. And you see all these memes about how people keep, their important documents still. And like a lot of people don't trust banks. They'll put it just like under the mattress, right? You need the birth certificate and, we'll go look for it under the mattress or under the couch or wherever, whatever hiding place that has been chosen. So, yeah, I think it's a good way to get people involved that don't trust those systems, because it is, like you said, it's like very independent and you take care of your own stuff, and it's like kind of it's complicated in certain ways, but in other ways it's also like very straightforward.
yeah. Well, Smiler Monster said they don't want you to know about the other way. They want you to keep it in their system, and that's 100%. Lava Entertainment dropped in. He said SatoshiSiren, and he's got some volcanoes on there.
Yeah.
So he made his way here.
Nice.
So he come in after you talking about Lava Entertainment though. So
yeah, so it's too bad he missed my whole spiel about Lava Entertainment and the amazing time that we had in Puerto Rico and all the cool things that are in the pipeline and all that stuff. So, but I mean, there's always the playback, right?
So is Lava Venezuelan? Is that how you say it?
Venezuelan, but I think he's from Puerto Rico. He's also from the Dominican Republic, but he's also Puerto Rican.
Okay.
So when I went,
yeah, sorry. Like when we were talking before the podcast started, like being that I'm in Australia, which is closer to Asia, it's more like I can't like place where everything is, if that makes sense.
So Puerto Rico is like a little island in the Caribbean.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, well that's pretty good then. It's like it is because I think it was Zorro above. He said the Latin community with like an exclamation point. So it really is like a massive community that you're building.
Yeah. No, in the Latin community, because there's like a lot of Gala people from different places: Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, Puerto Rico, all kinds of Latinos also, like from the United States and different places. So we're a big community, and it's always nice to see people support each other. So yeah.
Yeah. So being that you were born in Mexico, is that correct?
I wasn't. I was born in England because my parents were studying outside of Mexico when I was born. I was born to Mexican parents, but actually my father is first generation Lebanese. So both of my grandparents are from Lebanon. They emigrated to Mexico. They met in Mexico City, and then they had my dad, who's Lebanese but born in Mexico, born and raised in Mexico.
Okay, cool. So you're sort of like Middle Eastern /
yeah, half Middle Eastern, half Latina. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good mix, I reckon.
Thank you.
I'm just reading through. Baby Wow said holla.
Hola.
So, I'm not gonna
Latinos.
Yeah, the Syrianida or whatever it's called. I know that you say it and roll your tongue. I can't get it out with my accent, so I thought I'd at least try. Yeah, sorry. I thought there was a question there, but they were just talking amongst themselves again. So you got to ask Siren the questions, but the problem is they've probably already asked it in person anyway. So you've got a couple of dogs barking. Let's get. What sort of dogs do you have? Because I'm actually a big dog fan.
Oh, really? My dogs. One is a Chihuahua, and the other one is a Mexican hairless.
I don't think I've seen the Mexican hairless. We've got a dog, we call it a Pomchi. I don't know if that's a real thing. So it's half Pomeranian, half Chihuahua.
Nice.
But it's about like 14 years old and it's starting to get like senile now,
right?
Which is annoying because it will bark over like a leaf dropping. But and then I've got a American Staffy. I think it's like its dad was American American staffy, and then its mum was English staffy. So
Yeah.
if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes it a pure staffy, but not pure as far as English or American.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, you've got
We used to have a bull mastiff.
a bull mastiff.
Yeah, she was big, 120 pounds. She was amazing. She lived to like 9.5, and yeah, she was awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Just wait a sec. Satoshi, that was your first time. Oh, Zara said, was that your first time in Puerto Rico?
It was. It was my first time in Puerto Rico, and I was like just completely in love with it. And like Lavo was saying, he's right. It has the best of both worlds, you know. Like it has that whole like Latino vibe and all that stuff, but because like it's an American territory, it also has like the safety of the United States. Like the roads are all very well maintained, and the sidewalks, and it's just really beautiful, you know. But with all the like colorful houses that we have in like Latin America and like different places. So it was really amazing to visit. Like the food was incredible. I have a thing for like plantains, and like everywhere that I went to eat, there was just like plantains in my food. I was just like crying tears of happiness all the time, just like eating. It was amazing. No, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed my time there.
I've heard about Puerto Rico, but I haven't actually been over there. Um, so the reason I was asking about the geography side of stuff is because I don't want to be rude and ask a question about another country that that you're not a part of that community. But
Oh yeah,
let's
no worries.
you've got friends that are Venezuelan, which is the Zara Gala and also Crypto View, as far as I understand. And like, if you look at the dollar, it looks like it's not going very good at all. Like, it seems to be collapsing, and I don't know if that's still the case. But like, is it called? I can't remember what the name's called. Is it Argentina? That's they've just got a new president. Oh, you
Um,
know,
I'm could be, yeah. I'm not. I don't follow all the politics in Latin America as closely as maybe I should. Yeah,
well, if you know, Zara, let me know. So there's like, I think it's called Argentina or something like that, and they used to be like a top 10, um, essentially countries in the world, and then they ended up, Argentina, yeah,
yeah.
Argentina. So Lava said it
Argentina.
was. So he's like a pretty avid, it seems to be like a Bitcoin fan.
Yeah.
Like,
No, and in El Salvador as well, they're really big on Bitcoin as well, and in Argentina as well, and it makes sense because of the hyperinflation that they had with their currency.
so do you know, like, if Venezuela at all has also like tried to adopt cryptocurrency at all, or you're not too
I
sure?
don't know. I don't know, but I know that like certain Latin American countries have been looking at it, and they've been looking at it in a more friendly way. There's still a lot of distrust, just generally, I guess, because it's a new technology and because of you know, all the things that we've talked about, like the weird stuff that can happen. That's like, you know, it doesn't necessarily happen as openly in you know, TradFi, but I know that, you know, even in Mexico, they've been like you know, slowly trying to put legislation and things like that that's more crypto friendly. So I think Latin American countries do tend towards more friendliness. It depends where, and I don't want to like overspeak because I don't know very much, but that seems to be the impression I've got so far.
So, like, occasionally I'll see Crypto View talking it, like, we've argued a few times, and like, he'll talk about XRP and like the transactions being, essentially like low costing, and apparently in the third world that's really good, so he can get his currency to family and all the rest of it as fast as possible with the lowest fees. Like, are you in agreement with that? Being someone that's more of a worldly person than what I am, like, do you think he believes it's like 80% of like, he reckon the market, I can't really explain it the way that he does because he actually is a lot more intelligent than me in relation to this sort of stuff as far as third world countries and how to be able to access that money. So like, if you're, so what am I trying to ask here? So say if you're Venezuelan and you get sent XRP, you're still going to exchange that money for that Venezuelan dollar, or do you pull it out in USD? Like, how does it work when you're in these countries? Are you not sure?
I would imagine that you would have the choice, that you would get sent the money and that you'll just take it out and use it like however you need. Like if you need the Venezuelan currency, you'll use that. If you need the dollars, you'll use that. I think it just depends, but I think that he's right, that it's a really important thing. Like, there's just obviously there's a huge Latino community in the United States, and like the typical thing is that a lot of the Latino community will then take that money that they're earning and they'll send it back home, because, you know, the people back home, they'll have, you know, family members that might need surgery, that might have problems for this or for that, and so they send it back home. And so that's like another thing where you can cut out the middleman, because these companies like Western Union and these other companies to send money, it's like highway robbery, like how much of a commission or whatever they take. It's like it's a lot of money. It's crazy, and these are necessary services. Like, let's say, you know, even for just something as simple that maybe your child or relative is like traveling, visiting family, and then something happened and they got robbed or something, you need to send them money. There's not always an easy way to do that. So like that's like a massive use case for crypto, for sure. And that's definitely one of the driving factors, and not just Latin America, but I imagine lots of other places in the global south.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason I actually like the privacy coins. And that's because, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm in Australia now, like, if I was Russian descent and my government says, you know, fuck you, Russia, like, when you're not allowed to send anything there because you could be supporting, you know, these evil people, essentially, well, then I can't even help my family, which have nothing to do with it, you know, because everything's tracked. So, like, I like the privacy tokens and all the rest of it, and it's a shame because it seems like nearly every country's gotten rid of the privacy tokens, because you used to have like Monero, used to have I think it was called Bitcoin, and a few other projects, and they've seemed to have just gotten rid of them. So
right, yeah, no, and I'm with you on the privacy, because that's like obviously something that, you know, you should be able to have. You should be able to go like get a gift for somebody and not have like the entire world be able to publicly see what you've just done, kind of thing. So I do agree that privacy is really important, and especially for the things that you just said, you know, also being Middle Eastern, I know, like, you know, there's issues there as well, and, you know, difficulties just like sending money and stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's definitely an important use case. And you know, it's a double-edged sword, because that's also the reason why they're like, oh no, we need to get rid of these things because they can send it, and you know, these terrible people will get it and all this stuff. But yeah, it's, yeah, I guess it's one of these battles that's being like played out now, and we'll see how it turns out. But I'm definitely on the privacy coin side.
yeah, definitely. I'm just gonna. So we actually do have a couple of statements that are made here now. So Old Man Smith said Argentinian president likes Bitcoin, but he still wants to dollarize the Argentinian economy.
Thank you, OMS.
Lava said, I think Venezuela as a country is embracing crypto the most. You just pay with. Oh, so Lava Entertainment also said, you just pay with crypto. So it's not. He said it's normal to pay with crypto in those countries. Well, it's funny, like in Australia, I've never seen anyone use it, but if you go into any service station, like to buy your petrol and all the rest of it, they have on the FPOS machines, like, we accept Bitcoin, we accept this and that, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually use that feature, but it's available. Smiler Monster said Western Union takes like $15 per transaction. In the UK was $50 to send stuff home to India, or $50 to $10, or £10. That's a lot of money.
£50, like, to send money? That's crazy.
All right, so the Zoro said question. Satoshi, could you share with us your first impression when you learned about the process of how reggaeton music is made in Puerto Rico? So sorry for butchering that. Is it reggae music?
No, you're good. You're good, and that you can't, like, the intention I know is good, so don't worry. Like, there's nothing bad. No, reggaeton. You pronounce it great, or you can say reggaeton as well in English, I guess. It's just the word it's called. But no, it was amazing, and it was really interesting, and it was really funny as well, because you know, I'd heard them talking about like the guys with like the blanket over their heads and the mics to be able to do like their music and stuff, and so to see them like doing it, there was one point where we were in the bedroom, and there was like a big like there was like a closet where we were trying to hang a blanket so that JG could have his microphone up and all that stuff. So I was like, well, because it was really high up, right? So I was like, well, let's get a chair, and then if we put something heavy on the blanket, it'll stay. And JG just sort of walks over, and I'm like, or JG can just do it standing, you know, because he's so tall. But it was just really fun. You know, it was a really just like great environment, kind of like a party environment where people were recording. They would go into the room, and then, you know, obviously we were supposed to be quiet, so we usually remember to be quiet. But if ever somebody was like getting too into the conversation and being too loud, they'd come, shh, be quiet. And so then we get out to like the outside to where the pool was. Like they got such a nice location as well. I remember they did that last time because I unfortunately missed the first riding camp that was back in February. But back then they did it like further up in the mountains. And I saw the videos because obviously they posted them on Twitter, and you could just see just the beautiful view and the sea and the jungle and like the clouds and everything. It was just like they had this like the infinity pool. It was just beautiful, you know. So they have like a really nice space for these artists to like collaborate and hang out. And you know, and it's really interesting because you have that like whole party atmosphere and everyone's having a great time, and then they're like locked themselves up in the room and it's like boom, let's get this done. Like they're still enjoying the time and having a good time, but they're so focused and you know, ready to work and professional, and just it was like a really fun experience. And they were even talking about how it's different to a studio because like I imagine that a studio must be like so much more stale. Whereas in this kind of environment, it's like more easygoing. You can have like your friends there, like the vibe that you want, you know, kind of thing. It was really, really interesting to see, like how I said earlier, I can't remember if I said it when we were talking or if we were already recording, but it's like just I never imagined that I would be like the fly on the wall for like when I was little, just for the musicians that you're into and that you admire and all this stuff, and just being able to see them like actually crank out that music. It's crazy.
So going back to the Snoop Dogg barbecue, did you actually get to talk to Snoop at all?
I mean, I got to like aggressively corner him and beg for a selfie, which is what everyone did. A lot of people did. No, but it was really cool because it was such a like intimate little private show. So like even having him up on the stage and then just being in front of the stage, listening to him, and then they were like all on stage having fun, talking, putting different songs like from back in the day, you know, just like singing and dancing and having a good time playing. Oh, I'm going to play this for you. I'm going to play this for somebody else. They even had like at the end of it, they had Vicente Fernandez, right? What's his name? I'm getting it mixed up with the president, Vicente Fox. Sorry about that, but they had him play his song El Rey, like rancheras, like Mexican, like traditional Mexican music that you don't typically associate with a Snoop concert. So I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's playing this, and like other songs too. I can't remember which one he played. I know he played that one though, and stuff like that. So it was like a very cool experience, and we got to talk to different people. I spoke to one of the guys from Bone Thugs and Harmony. I got to speak to Jane Hancock for a little bit. She was super sweet and really nice. So it's just one of those things, you know, it's just like really nice, like community vibe. Everyone's having fun. And like, you know, me, I'm a mom of four, you know, I'm like stuck at home a lot. So, you know, I get out to these places, I'm like, I'm having so much fun. It's like, it's so cool. So I love all those events. And that's something that I think, like it's a very unique thing that they have going for them, like this whole Love Entertainment, Gala Music fan experience thing. Like I'm really like 100% believer in that. I think that's something that's really going to take off. It's something that people are really going to resonate with. So I think it, you know, I think it is something very special. I think it's really cool that it's something that's being brought to more people.
I agree. So Lava Entertainment said, don't compare Snoop Barbecue of Lava Camp.
Why not though? It was amazing. It was really cool. The lava camp was like crazy, and it was like multiple days, and just like insane experiences. So you have to like it was like they were both really cool experiences, and Lava Entertainment was just like amazing. So if anybody can go to the next one, like you should definitely go, because I had the best time, and I'm hoping that I won't miss out on the next one.
Well, that explains that for you, Mrs. JTG, because she said, what is Lava Camp? So Don't compare Fernandez. What is Lava Camp? So
Yeah, the Lava Camp was a writing camp that Lava Entertainment organized. That's basically how like reggaeton music will get recorded. A bunch of artists will get together, producers, different people will get together into a house. They'll take the photographers and like videographers as well, and they'll knock out like songs and content and all this stuff to be able to use it. So then this was a writing camp run by Lava Entertainment. I think the last one was a JG writing camp. This one was a Lava Entertainment writing camp. And so where they just bring like different artists, different producers to like make the beats and things like that. Like I said, the photographers and videographers. They had Gala Music there this time also for the streaming and the different aspects of the fan experiences. So yeah, this Lava Camp was definitely like a more unique thing because of the fan experience aspect to it. But yeah, basically it's just a writing camp where they get together to knock out a few songs or an album or whatever.
You need to be like the face of this Lava Entertainment, like Bitbender is for Gala Games, because you're super passionate about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I am very passionate about it, and it's definitely something that is difficult to hide. I'm always talking about it, and it's just difficult not to be, right? Because I really believe in the project. I think it's amazing what's being done, like the potential for the future. Like I mentioned, the different fan experiences that are in the pipeline that are coming, different things that I know that are coming, that I think people are really gonna jive with. They're gonna really like. So I'm definitely excited for all that stuff. And I'm grateful for the opportunity as well that Lava Crypto gave me to be able to be part of this and be part of Lava Entertainment. I'm eternally grateful for sure.
Cool. Well, Lava Entertainment, you have my permission to pick through this video if you want and make any sort of advertisements for yourself. So, just having a quick look. Okay, sorry, Lava's been socials. Mrs. JTG said Siren is Lava CEO, right? She will be. Well, you could be like the CMO, which is what Bitbender originally used to be. I'm pretty sure, like the marketing manager.
Right. Yeah, the Berserker of Lava Entertainment. I can't remember. You remember he gave himself that cool name, Berserker of Games or something? I'll be like the Berserker of Music.
That's cool. Well, we're coming up to the hour mark now anyway. If anyone in the chat has anything they'd like to say or ask, we'll give you like 4 minutes if you want to ask anything. Because to be honest with you, I'm sort of like, I'm out of my realm talking about music. Like I'm a participant in liking music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as like how it all works through Gala Games and all the rest of it, it sort of doesn't, like I just haven't put in the time to really learn the ins and outs of everything, you know?
Yeah.
Because
No, and it's a lot.
I know with like beams and stuff, like that's more of the thing that I was interested in, essentially being a node owner and whatnot of the Gala music, was that, you know, you can sort of like, the way I see it is like you're staking against an artist. It gives you like a percentage off if they drop tracks. It also gives you like exclusive merchandise and stuff to at least be able to participate in buying it. Is that correct?
Yeah. And there's supposed to be like, if you're like at the level 3, I think there's also like potential like events down the line that you could be potentially able to participate in or things like that. And then like the beams also, like I know you get points for them, and then the more beams that you hold, you get more points back. And I think you can use the points to buy experiences. So like it's worth holding the beams because you get more of those points that you can use. But I'm not like 100% clear on how all of that works right now. I get told off for spending beams, so I just stack them now because yeah.
Well, the cool thing with the beams, I don't know if you can still do it, but I like stake beams against someone just to see what would happen, and then I could actually unstake it. So I'm not sure if you can still do that or it's locked in there.
Yeah, no, you can unstake it anytime that you want. And so basically, like I just sort of stake it with the artists that I'm like more into, just so that I can for sure lock in that discount, and like the early release as well. That's important too, right? Because like I know right now there hasn't been like a ton of activity, but there were other tracks like in the past, like earlier on when Gala Music started, where like if you weren't in that public what's it called, that like early release of the music, and then afterwards it gets for the public release, but if you're not in that like fan like early thing, like it would get sold out and there wouldn't be any left for the public. you know. So like if it's somebody that you really want, and you want to have all their tracks for all their music or whatever, like it's worth putting it in so you can get that early, you know, the permission to get it an hour before the public sale, and then you can like be more sure that you're going to get it. And then I think that's something that's going to play into it more later when things start heating up, and because there won't be enough tracks for everyone because they do such a small amount on them.
Yeah. Well, I remember, like, it wasn't that long ago, I spoke to 8-Bit Tendies, and he's actually one of the artists on the Gala Music platform. And he was saying that it was really good, like, the percentages, like, as far as, like, you know, I think he said it was, like, 80% or something like that goes to the artist, and then it was, like, 20% goes to Gala.
Yeah,
So,
I think those
yeah.
percentages are changing, and it changes for like if you were an earlier artist, you got a certain contract, and then the later artists, they revamped the contract, and it's so I again I don't know anything about like the inner workings, so I don't know anything about like actual numbers, but yeah, I mean I know that it's a good deal, and I know that every single artist that I've heard feedback from have been like, wow, this is great, and they're really like they're really happy with the deals that they're getting with Gala, which I think is really like important to it. That like that's really valuable. Everyone's so unhappy with Spotify and how they're doing things, like the way that music has been changing, and they're just like really trying to squeeze out every last drop of the musicians. It's just like it's not workable anymore. It's something that's just like it needs to change. So I'm glad that people are at least trying to, you know, in their own way.
I remember watching like a documentary or something on like Spotify artists or maybe even Apple Music. It could be either one. They're sort of pretty similar anyway. And it was like, you know, they were worth like 20 or $30 million, and that was based off 1% of the sales. And it's like, what? Like, you know, if they're worth like that amount of money, like how much have they made for the platform itself? Like it's just a ripoff, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And people shouldn't be like, you know, screwed over that badly. It's crazy. And like now
Yeah.
that they don't even want to pay people unless they get to a certain number of streams, it's just like they're just like all the time making it worse. And all it's doing is like dampening all the creativity, all the like music production, right? Because people can't do it. They can't live off it. It's just making it worse for everyone. So
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just looking through here. Baby Well asked, is Lava Entertainment reggaeton only? And then Lava said, no, is about Latin music, 90% reggaeton right now, but is about Latin music. What, this for purchase pre-sale? Yeah, so they're just pretty much talking amongst themselves again anyway, but he already answered the question before you could get in and answer it. So you got to understand, Lava Entertainment, that now that SatoshiSiren's the CMO of Lava Entertainment, you got to let her answer these questions for you. But I think we'll leave it at that anyway. It's been really good having a chat with you, and if you don't mind hanging around, that'd be great.
yeah,
And
no
yeah, thanks for everyone for dropping in. Sorry I was a little bit scattered this podcast. It's like one of those things where, you know, I'm trying to be sensitive to issues that are going on in the world that I don't really understand. And then I want to ask questions, but I don't really know the geography that well. If I'm like asking a question, like someone saying, you know, what's going on in Singapore or Bali to me, and I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be sensitive to the issues and also, you know, not come across as a bigot. But so sorry if it did come across that way.
no, you couldn't.
It's like
No,
Puerto
you're very
Rico,
sensitive.
Venezuela. Yeah. Well, that must be close. I don't know. All right, we'll leave it there anyway. Thanks for dropping in, everyone.